Hi everyone, this is your instructor, Engineer Junaika T. Azarias, for this particular course entitled Geology for Engineers. This will just be a very short introduction to your course. We will be covering the course description, um, your topic learning outcomes or your course learning outcomes rather, the syllabus, how we assess uh, your scores, and of course how your scores are computed. So first up is your course description. So it says here, this particular course introduces to you the fundamentals of geology applied to civil engineering problems. And of course, the topics included here are rock and mineral types, soil properties, rock mechanics, geologic structures, active tectonics and earthquake hazards, slope stability and landslides, groundwater, rivers, and flood hazards. It also includes team projects related to engineering geology case studies and site assessment investigations. Supposedly, um, what we usually do here is that we ask our students to be grouped into teams, and then they are to draw certain formations, rock formations. But for this particular case, since we are in our online distance learning, we would have to find other ways for this particular description to be achieved by each of you. So let's go now to the course learning outcomes. When we say course learning outcomes class, these are the things that you should learn at the end of the course. So let's have your course, your CLO number one. So at the end of this course, the student shall be able then to describe and explain the role of geology in the design and construction process of underground openings in rock. CLO number two is apply geologic concepts and approaches on civil engineering projects. Your CLO number three is identify and classify rocks using basic geologic classification systems. Your CLO number four is use the geologic literature to establish the geotechnical framework needed to properly design and construct heavy civil work rock projects. Your CLO number five is to utilize the backgrounds in engineering and earth sciences to provide solutions to engineering problems within the context of the natural world. So the next stop is your syllabus. So in the syllabus, of course, I will be introducing to you the different modules that we would be tackling, including the TLO or the topic learning outcomes that you would have to or you would need to achieve at the end of each term. So your module number one will contain an introduction to your geology and civil engineering, different branches of geology, earth structure and composition, and of course the different earth processes. And your module number two, entitled Mineralogy, introduces you to the physical properties of minerals. The two modules will be the coverage of your midterms. So then at the end of the midterms, or rather, sorry, let's include module number three, an introduction to your petrology, wherein we will be tackling the classification of your rocks. And at the end of the midterms, these are the things that you should have learned. Each TLO should achieve at least a CLO. So you have your TLO letter A, define the elementary knowledge on continental drift and plate tectonics, achieving your CLO number one. TLO B is identify the earth processes such as weathering, work of rivers, wind and sea and their engineering importance, origin, occurrence, and occurrence of earthquake, achieving, of course, your CLO number one. Letter C is applied geologic concepts such as mode of occurrence, prospecting, groundwater, and importance in civil engineering, achieving your CLO number 2. And letter D, explain the difference, properties, processes of formation of all minerals, achieving your CLO number 3. And lastly, for midterms, differentiate the classification and distinction between igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks, achieving your CLO number 3. For the finals, let's introduce you to module number 4 entitled Structural Geology and Rock Mechanics. These are the topics that will be included in your module number 4. You have the altitude of beds, outcrops, geological maps, physical properties of rocks, and mechanical properties of rocks. And of course, you have your module number 5, your geological and geophysical investigation in civil engineering. Site investigation, geological methods, exploration techniques, and of course, seismic and electrical methods. So for this, it will just be a short introduction. We would not really be doing a site investigation, but rather I will be introducing to you the processes on how to do a site investigation per se. And of course, at the end of your final term, these are the topic learning outcomes. Letter A, define the study of structures, wherein you should be able then to differentiate what is a fold, a fault, and what is a joint, achieving your course learning outcome number 4. Describe the structural geology bearing on engineering construction. Again, achieving your CLO number 4. Letter C is define and demonstrate the physical and mechanical properties of rocks. We have your porosity, permeability, density, strength, hardness, elasticity, and plasticity, achieving your CLO number 4. And lastly, investigate and explore sites using geologic methods, exploration techniques, and geophysical methods, achieving, of course, your CLO number 5. So let's go to the next part of the introduction, wherein you have your course outcome assessment tools. So this will introduce to you how do we assess your grades, or how do we assess you in terms of scoring. So you have two types of assessment tasks. Of course, for the class standing, this will include your quiz, sit work, homeworks, and presentations. And of course, you have your examinations, and you are already familiar with this. Our university only have 2 periodical examination, your midterm and your final examinations. And lastly, how do we compute your scores? So for the computation of your scores, you all know that the passing score is 60%. That means for every assessment that I will be giving you, you should get at least 60%, which will be transmuted to a grade of 75. So your raw midterm score is calculated as follows. 50% will be covering your class standing, and 50% will cover your midterm exam. And same is true with your final score. You have your 50% covering your class standing and 50% covering your final examinations. And how do we compute your final score? That will be 50% of the midterm score plus 50% of the raw final score. And if you get at least a percentage of 60%, that will be equivalent to the minimum passing grade of 75. So that's it for the introduction of your course, Geology for Engineers. I will be introducing you to the next topic, next meeting, and it is about your module number 1. Please do not forget to click on subscribe, and please stay home, stay healthy, and stay safe. Goodbye, everyone.